And that was, I sort of gave up on the human race and gave up on the American dream and culture and nation, and decided that I didn't care about the outcome. And that gave me a lot of freedom from a kind of distant platform to be sort of amused, a kind of, to watch the whole thing with a combination of wonder and pity, and try to put that into words.
Not caring about the outcome, what do you mean by that?
Not having an emotional stake in whether this experiment with human beings works. I really don't care. I love people as I meet them one by one. People are just wonderful as individuals. You see the whole universe in their eyes if you look carefully. But as soon as they begin to group, as soon as they begin to clot, when there are 5 of them or 10, or even groups as small as 2, they begin to change. They sacrifice the beauty of the individual for the sake of the group. I decided it was all under the control of groups now, whether it's business, religion, political people, or what, and I would distance myself from wishing for a good outcome. Let it do what it's going to do, and I'll enjoy it as an entertainment.
And I'll reflect on what it is on its own.
And I'll enjoy it for the entertainment. There's a little bit of a sick part in this, too. I root for the big comet. I root for the big asteroid to come and make things right. That's the way I put it.
Stir things up.
Yes, to get us back where we were before the first one came and knocked out these dinosaurs and let the ferrets grow up.
We're talking about comets on this show tonight.
I know.
One thing that came out during that symposium, I announced the end of the world, which Isaac Asimov has done, you know, in Penthouse magazine.
Came in second, then.
Well, he has predicted, you know, that the greenhouse effect is going to take place in our atmosphere very soon, and a lot of other dreadful catastrophes from which there can be no recovery. And so I believe him, and I believe the world is about to end. So there at the drama desk, I said, you know, hey, the world's going to end pretty soon. Maybe we ought to put this on stage, you know, or maybe we ought to acknowledge this in some way instead of
dramatize it before it happens.
Writing about sibling rivalries or about adulteries or whatever. Maybe we should talk about the end of the world since it's about to end. And so a couple of people asked questions. A discussion of this subject went on for about 1.5 minutes. And finally, somebody said, well, if we cut the price of tickets down to $3, do you think the young people would come?
To the end of the world.
Putting out the record, the first thing we see is the album cover. So that vulture on your shoulder we see on Blunderbuss album, metaphorically speaking, is this the bird who is going to pick up the last dead pieces of rock and roll?
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Well, yeah, I mean, vultures to me are just these beautiful birds. When I moved to Nashville, they're everywhere around where I live. I mean, you see them and they'll land on the house sometimes, and they're so gigantic. They're just massive birds. They're bigger than eagles. And but they represent death. I mean, they clean up. They're like the garbage collectors of the world, you know. They clean up all the dead bodies, and they're so associated with death. So when the artist Rob Jones showed me that idea, I thought, this is really great, because it's sort of me making friends with death. Making death a romantic thing in my own brain, you know. So I really liked it. It just sort of summed up the whole album for me.
Let's step some.
No, basically, all my life what I'm trying to do is a comedy. And it never comes out. Because certain feelings and certain tragic tones that I carry on in my brain, in my entire personality, somehow comes stronger than the other one. But I think this time I got a script that was kind of contrast, all the time in the contrasting situation between funny and serious, in which the way that story was constructed is much more, I would say, funny.
U tom nekom ritmu rađanja i smrti, jakom ritmu, tom jakom impulsu ugradim taj smisao za humor koji mene lično spasava od te tragične vizije života, koja je također jaka u meni.